Hello and welcome to episode 195 of NOLA Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the real insider, Mr. Joel Young.
What's good? No load time. It is great to be back, man. Thank you for that fun introduction. No, we've got a great show today. Lots to get into. I can't wait. I've been hyped for this episode since our last little special video we did
Yeah,
the other day.
yeah, definitely good to be here after another grueling few days. But we're here, we're live, and yeah, again, before we jump into the whole MegaCon and what happened this week, thank you guys again for the support that you guys have given us in the last few videos. It really means a lot to us. So we we're really thankful for you guys' support, and yeah, we're hoping to keep it up. So if you like our content, just keep there. Joel, before we jump in, I just want to acknowledge one thing. Sadly, today we lost a legend of Japanese cinema and martial arts. Mr. Sony Shiba passed away from complications due to the pandemic. Um, Absolute legend, martial arts master. It's been on, I don't know, a couple hundred movies. It's the guy was truly a legend. You may know him as Hattori Hanzo from Kill Bill, but he started in, like I said, maybe a couple hundred Japanese movies, martial arts movies. Most notable, the Street Fighter back in the '70s, which was probably one of his more popular movies. But he was active for almost 50 years, and yeah, tragic. And we just want to acknowledge that real quick before we jump in, because it was a legend. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Joe, let's let's dispense with the pleasantries and and jump right in it, man. Because of course we know that you were at MegaCon over the last few days
Literally a
of
week
last week.
ago.
Yeah, over a week
It
ago.
was it was literally Thursday through Sunday.
Correct. Yeah. And there's a lot to talk about. A lot of things that you saw, notes that you have from the Ray Fisher question and the Q&A, and other stuff that you saw at the event. So, man, the floor is yours before we jump into Bad Batch and What If and all the other trailers that we got this week. Man, just tell us what's up, dude.
Yeah, I'll try and get through this because there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. So please stop me. You want to jump in here for any
Yeah.
moment. But
No worries,
yeah,
man.
MegaCon was literally a week ago. It was Thursday through Sunday. I was able to get in early, literally 2 hours early before the convention opened on Thursday. Thursday is considered preview day, right? So similar, like the same we do at at San Diego Comic Con, where they let you basically walk the show floor. There's some advanced previews of different shows and minimal panels for that point. So it really was a great opportunity to get to check out the show floor before the masses came in through the weekend. Because let me tell you, after getting through on Thursday, all the rest of the days, it was tight to get through some of those spaces. But I really am happy with the job that MegaCon did for safety and really tried to make everything as safe as possible. With that being said, on the first day, after walking the show floor, I was able to do one pretty big panel, which was Charles Martinet, the
Oh,
voice of
Mario.
Mario.
Nice.
Yes, that was a great panel. Before I get into that for a second, I do want to say all the stuff that I'm talking about here, I will be posting in depth a lot of video clips, photos, all the stuff. It's a bunch of stuff that I captured. I have not been able to edit most of the stuff, like Obed and I have talked about. We're really busy guys, but this weekend, I have the intention of doing a lot, uploading of a lot of this really cool content. So make sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. With that being said, yeah. So Charles Martinet was the first one I got to check out. what an awesome dude. What a great guy. Just super happy with life.
Yeah.
Loves doing the voice of Mario. The moment he comes out, he's instantly in his Mario voice, yippee, and just saying his lines and telling us about how he changed the voice for Wario and how he changed the voice for Waluigi and how he came up with the voice of Luigi and like all of his how he auditioned for the role. I mean, he went through everything. It was just such a great time. We got some really cool video clips of him speaking as Mario, of course. There, so that was a pretty cool,
So I'm
awesome
telling you, man, if
experience.
if if it would be a crime if he's not Mario and Luigi in the movie. Like,
Well, okay, so people asked him about the
oh,
movie,
okay,
right?
okay, good, 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 good.
See, I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
ask. This is not exclusive to me, but I would since I was in the room, I will say that yes, if people asked him, what can he say about the movie, and he said he can't say anything about the movies, the
Okay.
theme parks, what's going on, but he can say that they have that it's going to be really great, and there's going to be a lot of characters. So
Yeah,
you put two and two together, like you said, you got to imagine
yeah.
that he's doing a
Good.
lot of work for that. Uh, yeah, so that was awesome.
Did they ask him
And
about a season two of
high score.
High Score?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he mentioned his work on High Score and how much he enjoyed doing it, and how much he got to learn stuff, and he got to meet familiar faces that sorry re again acquaint with some
Like
of these people that
reconnect.
he had seen years ago, and he hasn't caught up with working with them on there. And he did not say if he'd be back, but he did say he's got a lot of projects that he's working on right now. So I didn't understand if that was
Got
him
it.
saying I'm working on that project, or is he talking about the movie more. It was hard to read between the lines
Yeah. That those
on that
those
one.
things are very interesting. I don't know
Yeah,
how Netflix does that, right? Because I know that movies that made us and toys that made us,
yeah,
they take a long time, like in between seasons.
yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Because I really enjoy those series, and in High Score, it's probably one of the best pieces of video game content out there. Honestly,
Phenomenal.
it's phenomenal. So, um, yeah, I would love to see it because it ended in the cliffhanger, right? The console
Yeah.
wars were there, but it ended right before the PlayStation came out. So there's a lot of history, right, from PlayStation to Dreamcast that needs to be
Yeah.
told, like the whole Sega downfall and the Nintendo like sort of backstabbing with Sony and then not producing the system and all that. So that's I think that's more compelling to a lot of people. I mean, not that it wasn't because it's absolutely compelling, right? But that's a story. Like a lot of people focus on the console wars, right, and the Sega versus Nintendo, but there was a lot of crazy stuff happening between Nintendo and Sony and Sega, and the battle, like the whole dissonance between Sega of America and Sega of Japan, and how they didn't get along and all that stuff. Those stories need to be told. So looking forward to it.
No, I completely agree, and I yeah, I love High Score. So him talking about it just instantly was like, yeah, this is great, this is awesome. So no, we loved it. It was a great time. Um, also got to so basically that was the main one of the night. After that, there was just a few other little things that were going on that I just kind of jumped into. There's a really cool Lego experience that they had out there. If you guys saw any of the Facebook or
Cool.
Instagram stories, I'll post again pictures on that they had. Poor guys, they told us that I guess one day they the first day of them loading in all these Legos, they dropped one of their castles. You'll see the picture up of the castle, and all the pieces got destroyed. So literally
Oh man.
from that very night, the person spent all night rebuilding the entire thing just so we could have it at MegaCon. Like these are the stuff that these guys tell us that's just absolutely amazing, and their commitment to making this convention happen is amazing.
Yeah.
Day two, Friday, really, jumped right into a really cool panel with uh, Robert Venditti. He actually is one of the guys that he's worked on a few of the Justice League comics recently. He's working on a new Superman comic, and also worked on Green Lantern, a couple comics for him. I got to talk to him about the impact of what it means of a character like Superman for a modern day take, and I actually got a question again. The question's on video. I will be posting that video too. So this is cool stuff. But I asked them a question about specifically, um, the Superman is such a huge character. He's just a Boy Scout. He's a super strong person. Like how do you keep him with a great heart as a person, but also not dumb him down and make him like less strong than what he really is, where he can just push everyone over. And like that's always been a huge problem with Superman, a huge thing for them to tackle from both movies, comics, games, everything. So he gave a really great answer. I can't wait for you guys to check it out. But he started talking about Green Lantern, which is my favorite DC characters. So yeah, it was a great time just sitting there. I'm here talking to one of the big shots at DC. So it was pretty cool. Um, I also got to go to the Katie Cassidy panel where she plays Laurel Lance for Arrow. Thought I might as well do that since I was going to see her other Arrow counterpart, Stephen Amell, the very next day. So yeah, the Laurel Lance panel was pretty cool. We asked her. My sister came with me. She got to ask her a question about hey, what was it like having all these characters on the show? Was there any characters that you'd like to have seen them add in that weren't there? And she said Catwoman was a character she would have liked to have seen be in the Arrowverse. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, a lot of the Batman characters cross over pretty much a lot frequently in that show. She gave a lot of really good insight on things that happened that she wasn't really happy with the character, that I found to be really interesting because it's funny. You watch her on the show Arrow, and like you suspect sometimes you connect the actor and the character to be the same thing, but she wasn't very much like the person that you saw on the show. And I'm not saying she was a bad person on the show, but she was much more friendly, in person at the panel, and spoke very well of everyone and was very professional, and had all the stuff that most fans complained about. She was complaining to the writers about also throughout. So she did help make an impact on some of the decisions that were made on the show, which I thought was really awesome. I'm speeding up now because now we're jumping to Saturday, a big one, right? So this is what everyone's here for. First thing, Saturday. By the way, all these days that I'm talking about, I got there an hour before the doors even opened. So we were there all day, man. I'm still
gotta get your money's worth, man. Come on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So Saturday, get there super early. First panel of the day was Michael Rooker. Guy is absolutely crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Say interviews. He seems like
he's
still out there. Yeah.
He's out there, man. He's running around I feel bad for the camera guy trying to follow him because he's decided just to run out into the stands.
Yeah.
He was not supposed to do that. That was definitely not planned. He's running out to the stands and he's rubbing a pregnant woman's belly and like doing stuff that's just absolutely crazy. But we'll talk about what if in a short bit here. But one of the questions that was asked to him by another person in the stands was about how did he feel about working with Chadwick Boseman, obviously for What If? And he's like, oh, I've already seen the episode. Obviously now we've all seen it. He's like, I already know all the cool stuff in it. And as goofy as he is, he got very serious in that moment. He was like, Chadwick is a good dude. He was a great guy to work with. It was a ton of fun. Like, yes, we were in the studio together doing the voice work together. Which is pretty cool because sometimes these audio voiceover work,
they never do it at their house and they just chip it over or just basically upload it now.
Yeah, they did actually work together on this, so that was big. That was pretty cool. Obviously, it was a very, very touching episode, and I look forward to discussing that coming up here shortly.
Absolutely.
Panel number 2, Stephen Amell. Made sure to get there early for that because that was the one that was right before Ray Fisher. They did not clear the room for these panels. Okay. So if you got a good seat, you got to stay in. If you left the panel, then you had to go to the back of the standby line. So I stayed in for Stephen Amell's from Arrow, and that was the one that was an hour before for Ray Fisher. Steven was also super gracious. He was saying that it was time to end the show. It was time to end Arrow. He also talked about how, yes, people might look at him as, DC royalty, and that he's like oh, like you must be like a DC only guy. And he was like, no, I'm actually a big Marvel guy. He's like, I can't tell you how many times I watch Avengers Endgame and all the Marvel films. And he talked about like very, very seriously. He's like, I would never decline a call from Marvel, like if they call me right now. And he made
Nice.
that extremely clear. He's like, I don't know what character I would play. Of course, people started joking, Hawkeye, like that's Ray taken.
Okay.
But
Oh,
he did say he would gladly join the MCU. I'd like to see Stephen Amell in the MCU. That'd be pretty cool. Um, and he talked about how basically all the characters that they wanted they pretty much got on the show
it'd be good
at
Nova.
some point or
Just thinking
another.
about it now.
Yeah,
Like
huh?
Nova, the actual Nova, another
Oh
cool. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That'd be great. Nova
Yeah.
would be a good one for him. Yeah. So yeah, so that panel was a lot of fun. That was pretty cool. But now let's get to the juice. Ray Fisher. um,
The video's out there. Joel was the real insider. We broke it first. And you know, it's blown up, and rightly so. I think that that was the answer, that was the question, like what we said in our video. That was the question that people wanted someone to ask, and you had you had the opportunity to ask it, and you went with it. So
yeah.
but yeah, just tell us the entire story.
Yeah. First of all, I also want to say, just like Obed started the show, thank you all for your support. You guys have been really awesome. Like, I want to shout out a couple accounts real quick, like POV Films. My sister, she was the one who actually filmed that other angle that we showed on the quick video we did the other day of showing me it with Ray. Really awesome support that she jumped in quickly as soon as she saw we started sharing stuff. She jumped in, was like, "Hey, you guys are awesome," and just started tagging some of the other accounts and just saying, hey, just pointing this back to no load time, headphones thoughts, blog, jumping in on social media again, just showing support. Um, really can't say enough about the awesome stuff they're doing there. Examine This Moment blog, super supportive as well. Really, really appreciate them. I could go on and on. There was a few other people that just started chiming in, doing great stuff. So thank you to everyone who supported us. And as we said, you can watch that other video, but we the outlets that covered what we covered first gave us our fair share of credit. Thankfully, all the ones
Yeah.
that we've been reaching out to, all the big ones, IGN, Screen Rant, um, Looper. There's a few other ones. I'm forgetting right now.
Or the
Comicbook.com.
yeah.
These guys have been really really kind. Um, yeah, I might just add this one thing. There was one of them. I'm not gonna say which one it was. Their information was so off, dude. I sent it to you.
Yeah.
They said that another podcast hosted this panel, and I was a fan of that podcast event. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this can't be even remotely close to the truth. It was absolutely hilarious, some of the stuff that was being
Yeah.
put out online, but
Yeah.
it got corrected.
Yep.
I digress. Ray Fisher. So Ray comes out on the stage wearing his, Borg Life shirt, which he's worn before. That's a really really cool that he came out wearing that. Um, Talked about how it's been a while since he's seen the fans. The whole panels is out now. MegaCon themselves actually posted it, which is really cool. But yeah, when he came out, they ended up telling us, if you guys, get your questions now, go ahead and get in line. So I rushed to get into the line there, and I was maybe the third person, I want to say, in the line to ask the questions. Um, but I thought for sure, Obed, that the question that I asked, something along those lines, was already going to be asked by either one of the people or the host himself.
Mm.
I mean, they did. No one was. They were dancing away from. I felt like we were actually, as the panel goes on, if you guys go back and watch it, I suspected that they were actually trying to stay away from talking too much about Justice League. To be honest, they started talking a lot about his role as Muhammad Ali and Shakespearean work, and yeah, you're a cool cyborg. Like, that was a cool job, but they just kept going. And obviously, I took a chance to ask a question. I wish Ray Fisher could come on the show, because I had like probably 5 questions written down that I was like, I could go for any one of these if for whatever reason that one's taken. But it's still a good one. So I go up there. I ask my question about what I intentionally phrased the question as, what could we the fans do to get you back? Although I
Yeah.
really was trying to say, what will it take for you to get back? And so most of the outlets put it as, so Joel of No Load Time asked the question, what would it take to have you come back in the DCU? I phrased it as, what would it take for us to help
For
get you
the
back,
fans,
kind of thing.
exactly. Yeah.
Just because it's like, power of community, right? Like you could sense in that room from the videos how passionate people were about it as I began to ask this question. I mean, it was quiet the whole other rest of the time. You can watch the videos. So I knew that his answer was going to be around Walter Hamada. I assumed that what he was going to say was that I won't be back until Walter Hamada leaves. That's what I thought he was going to say. I thought he was going to say until Walter Hamada and Jeff Johns leaves. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, that's unrealistic. Like, let's be real. Like, that's like saying I won't join Star Wars until Kathleen Kennedy leaves. It's like, she can leave, but
Who knows when, right?
until it happens, like you're
Yeah.
like that's just pure speculation, unless there's certain YouTubers out there, but that's another argument. She's been gone since last year, according to some YouTubers.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It's like,
my sources tell me
my sources tell me that Mike Zero said that she's already out. Yeah. So
Don't get me started with that. We don't spread fake news on here. So let's just throw that out there. So so I also want to clarify throughout the whole panel, because there's some trolls out there. I'm not going to name names, but and everyone's entitled to their opinion, totally entitled. But it's not just on our video; it's on other videos. Like, the same people are doing the same stuff. Where they're like, Ray Fisher asking for an apology, that's childish. Like, as a man demanding an apology is like a little kid demanding another kid to apologize to him. Like, it's not being a real man. And I'm like, time out. And then the biggest part to me, the kicker at the end, was he quit. He wasn't fired. Time out on all this.
No.
Ray Fisher being at the panel, he never one time, I was there the whole time, not one time did the man say I was fired.
Yep.
Not one time did he say I was removed. He just simply said, I will not be supporting any Walter Hamada Productions, because I have to stand for what's right until I get my respect by getting the apology that he's demanding.
And his
I will
story
not come back with an apology.
Yeah, and his story has been, confirmed and backed up by Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot that the problems were very serious, and it's not him being a baby about it, right? It's just that if I go to work, I go to work. I don't go to work to get disrespected,
Right.
I would stay home if that would be the case, right? But
right.
That's the thing, he what happened to him has been documented, and other people went through the same thing. It's just not him, right?
It's not just him, right?
Yeah.
He's the only one that's saying I won't be back until things are fixed.
He's the first one that stood up to it, though. That's the thing.
Why would you go back to a bad situation? Like, that's like any job. It's not even just acting. Like, why would you go back to a job where someone does something wrong and there's no apology for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the story he's saying. That's the story he's sticking with. He's been very consistent. So this argument of like, he just up and quit. He's demanding an apology, but he quit. It's like, yeah, that actually is the case. Like, I don't know what you're trying to insinuate, but anyways, one of the other individuals asking a question asked him, and you might remember this story, and I'll get into this in a second here, but one of the individuals asked him about a fun story on set, and they also asked him about specifically if he could say right there on the spot the famous Cyborg line, "Booyah." Now, if you're catching up what I'm putting down, we've been covering this for a long time. There was a couple pieces that have been put out by certain outlets. You can look this stuff up, right? I'm not going to name the outlets because I don't want to make the outlet looks bad, but there's a point to this. I'm getting there. That, according to Jeff Johns, like, one of that Ray Fisher was problematic on set and didn't want to do the things they were asking him to do with the Whedon version, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that was reported, it clicked right away when I was in there. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this.
Yep.
Was he would not be willing to say the famous line "booyah." He said, "I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say the booyah line." When as an actor, they told him that's the line we want you to say, and I'm not going to say that, the famous iconic line, right? So in the panel, Ray Fisher, when they asked him, he says, "I'll answer." He goes, "For your second question, which was about the booyah," he says, I won't be saying booyah, even though he literally says booyah. He says, "I won't be saying booyah," but he
Mm-hmm.
said it. Anyways, and then he goes and answers the other question. And I sensed in that moment when you looked at him, he's definitely has struck a nerve when someone said booyah. So
Oh,
whether there's smoke, there's fire.
he's
Like
got
this is stuff that
PTSD. Booyah,
PTSD,
PTSD.
like this
Yeah.
is stuff you get, dude, from being there. Like
Yeah.
you see it right there. He was like, "Oh no, I'm
Like,
not
cause
talking about that."
his body language would change, and
It's yes.
yeah,
So
man,
this
that
is stuff like,
sucks.
yeah, like you start pulling something because we've been covering this for a while. So you start pulling this together. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there's where there's smoke, there's fire. Clearly, whatever was going on there with the booyah line, that brought something back there.
Yep.
Okay. Fun story. As I bring this to a wrap up on the Fisher stuff is that as we were reaching out to several outlets, we also reached out to we reached out to a couple outlets. One thing I learned from this whole situation is maybe also put out some kind of formal press release for these people and say, "Hey, we did this. Like, here you go. Now that we know the contacts, the channels to go through with certain contacts, emails and these kind of things that we know now, right?" So I actually did reach out to one particular outlet and say, "Look, we have this story. These other people are covering it. Just thought I'd pass along in case you guys want to cover it. Just ask you credit us as the people who shot and asked the question."
Yeah.
And they responded and they were very gracious. And they said, "Thank you very much, but we're going to pass on that story." Why do I bring this up? Guess which outlet this was? Not going to say the name. This is the same outlet that put the quote unquote hit piece on Ray.
Yep.
That put out the statements, the exclusive statements at that time from the spokesperson for Walter Hamada, Jeff Johns, and they even had to later retract elements because I guess Ray Fisher's team had reached out to also this same outlet.
Yep.
I'm not going to name the outlet because the person who wrote about it, I respect them.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're really great what they cover.
I think the person that responded to the email is someone that you want to keep on your good graces.
Yes,
so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I absolutely respect them.
Yeah.
But some may argue that these people are not allowed to say anything about what Ray is saying because they've got good relations with these people at DC.
Yeah.
Specifically Walter Hamada. And so they can't say this. They can't cover this story. I'm just picking up what's being put down at this point.
Yeah.
Because whatever, for them to be able to have Hamada's spokesperson put out statements on their outlet, Hamada's team was using this outlet to be able to speak out the story and the narrative that they wanted for their side of what was going on, because obviously Ray has been unapologetic, as he should be, about what he experienced and what he feels about this whole situation. So yeah, it was great to look at Ray and tell him we support him, that we'd love to see him back. And as I said on the show, the movie speaks for itself. I said that at the panel, and I said that to him because no matter what argument anyone might say, like, "Oh, he's just being a silly, he's just being that." You want to talk about being silly? Go watch the Whedon cut, and then go watch the Snyder cut.
No.
Your life will be changed.
No, watch the Snyder cut first, please. or you know what? No, it's
You see this, you go,
yeah.
This is the one that you're saying that he should get over this. And then when you have this is the proof of what it was always supposed to be.
Yeah.
And even that is what it's supposed to be is like the limited budget version of it. Like we know that it was like Snyder had to kind of just do what he could do at that point.
Yep.
I do think it's interesting because when I asked him the question as well, I said I ended the question saying to what would do to get you back in the Snyder verse. I specifically said that because I also was one of the questions I would have asked Ray is do you think or do you know, have you spoken to Zach, and do you know if he would be coming back or be interested in coming back? Because obviously, yes, he has said publicly this, but it's good to hear from the actor, right, with their
Yeah.
perspective, because as people in this space, we can sometimes just expound on small things. Anyways, I was gonna ask him that because I wanted to see what he say. He never said that I would need Zach to come back. He only said I need an apology from Walter Hamada, which I'm not saying this as don't take this and run with this as this is gospel now,
Yeah.
but I might argue that in this October event that's coming up with the DC fandom, maybe, just maybe, Zack Snyder is actually indeed back. I would not be surprised if he is indeed going to be announced to be back at that DC fandom event. Because
That's
he
gonna be
never
an
said I
interesting
need
event.
Zach to be back. Maybe Zach has spoken to him.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting event for sure. So, yeah. Joel, do you have anything else, or can we move along? We got a few things to cover.
Yeah, we got a few things to cover. I wanted to make sure I gave you guys that fun stuff there. It was a great time out there at MegaCon, but stay tuned to our social media because I'm gonna be posting a lot of these cool video clips that I alluded to and some pictures too. So make sure to keep following us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Cool. Do you wanna let's start with What If, and then we can do Bad Batch because we can transition over to Visions. That's probably pretty good. Man, what an episode for What If. Spoiler alert, if you have not watched this latest episode of What If, it's and you're a Marvel fan, you need to watch it. So you're excused. So for the next, I don't know, 5-7 minutes, we're gonna talk spoilers. Man, it was this was so well written. It was so funny and everything worked. Talk about like something that really like synchronizes. It was excellent, excellent, excellent. Nothing bad to say about it, honestly. Um, you know, I sent you a crying Toby Maguire gif because it hit me right. It was like from the right from the beginning, like it hit me right, and then you forget about it because the episode was so good and so funny. But then like right at the end, it's like this is it, like this is the last time, and it's like,
Well,
it's so hard.
we do have 4 episodes with him allegedly,
Really,
allegedly.
allegedly, okay.
So
Well,
I say allegedly because I'll believe it until I actually visibly see
yeah, because
it.
I mean,
But
they said that Carter was going to be in every episode, and she wasn't in this one. So
she
there you
wasn't in
go.
this one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So we don't know. But man, it was like it hit me really hard. Man, it's like this was truly a what if, because what if he was the one that got picked up by Yondu and taken? It's like Thanos was a good guy, I guess. Like he still had the plan, right? It was like, I mean, there's other ways, right, to do this, and you talked me out of the plan, but it was a good plan. Like, yeah, it was like gray area kind of thing. It was really good. And I like because that of that talk, he did not like torture Nebula, so Nebula was mostly complete, like as a as an organic being. Um, it was excellent. It was really good, man. It was all around. It was really good. Drax's family's alive. He stopped the invasion, the Kree invasion. Everything like the way they wrote it, the character of T'Challa slash Star Lord, excellent. And again, the supporting characters were all great. I like how they took the Collector and made him into this like intergalactic kingpin now, and he just jacked him up really crazy. Uh, but yeah, man, there was a lot of Easter eggs there. I haven't seen any breakdowns yet, but there was a lot of Easter eggs in that segment. So yeah, man, what are your thoughts?
yeah, the Thanos thing was the one that instantly got me. I was like, what?
What?
Like the
Yeah.
moment the camera
Yeah.
cuts over to him. But what it shows you, like you said, it's a true what if because it shows you who T'Challa innately is, right? He
Yeah.
is a king. And even in the Star Lord role, like completely different space you take him and put him in, like from the beginning, you instantly see the pursuer literally stops and he's like, Star Lord, like I know who you are, like, and instantly is like the complete opposite of what we saw with Chris
from Peter.
Pratt,
Yeah, I was
Star
like,
Lord, right?
who?
Peter Quill, where
Yeah,
he's like, "Who are you?" Like, what?
yeah,
Where it's like instant, like, "Oh my gosh, I respect you." Like, you steal from these people and you give to the poor, Robin Hood kind of guy. Um, so he was doing good. He was doing good stuff. He was known, right? And he also was a great diplomat. Still, these are all
yeah,
the characters of T'Challa, not as the Black Panther mantle as a warrior, but as a king, right? Like, he's basically a great politician. He was so good. He's so
yeah,
smooth and so good. He was able to literally have a conversation with Thanos and talk him out of mass genocide because
yeah,
he's that smooth.
yeah,
He was literally able to just, yeah, and he was able to do that. And then again, even as if we get towards the end, and it looks like, oh no, they captured T'Challa and they sneaked him. It's like he was all part of his plan to begin with. He executed his plan to perfection, where Nebula was even in on it. Like the whole thing is just like this guy
it was
is
excellent.
a king. He's a ruler, and he's a people's man, and I love that. But yeah, the Thanos thing was the one that instantly,
Yeah,
every time he spoke, every scene we saw was like, what? Only thing with him that got me a little, was like, was him getting beat up by the Black Order. That one
I mean,
scene when they were killing. It
there
wasn't
were,
terrible, but I'm like,
yeah,
the dude went toe to toe with the Hulk, and it was like,
yeah,
no, let him have his fun. You get that scene right where he just instantly just body slams and just destroys him
yeah.
because he's the Titan, right?
He
So
was
it's like, did
outnumbered
he become
though. Like,
soft because he was a nice guy? Like
yeah,
I don't know.
but he was outnumbered.
But
So that was the thing.
regardless,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But regardless, it was still awesome, man. Like everything part of it,
excellent.
and to your point, the very ending, like so emotional when you have Yandu and him sitting down in the ship going away. Talk about your wherever you want to be in this universe, you can be there, do it.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
and he goes back home, man.
yeah,
It was so good. Which I know that this is like a controversial opinion, and we've talked about it before, but I think, and again, it's gonna take someone like really special to fill it to filling his shoes, but we're on the mind that we think that his character should that T'Challa should continue, that they can they should not write him out, that he should be recast. What happened was unfortunate, right? But at the same time, the character has so much depth that it would be a complete waste of in the part of on behalf of Marvel if they don't continue the character and keep continuing exploring the character and growing it. So that's my opinion. I know it could be controversial, but I know that we agree on that one, and I think this episode proves it that it will take someone special, but the legacy should still continue and the character should go on. So yeah.
yeah. I mean, I wish they would do that. I doubt everything that's been said is it's not going to happen, but
Mm-hmm.
even down the line, I'd love to see it happen. I don't know if you've been seeing this guy going around on Twitter, Nick Santos from the hashtag show, but he's claiming to be an insider of stuff that he knows has been going on. Some of the stuff he says actually has been happening, but allegedly, I sent you a thing about Finn earlier today, but allegedly, yes, sure, he will indeed be the Black Panther, but that's going to be the whole theme of the whole movie. Like the entire theme of this new movie is going to be who's the new Black Panther, and they're going to play with the idea of multiple people saying I can be him, I can be him, I can whatever, and then it'll end up with her being a big reveal at the end. But we'll see if that's the case or not. What I wanted to ask you with this what if ending for this episode
Yep.
is so it seems like
Oh yeah.
because we don't really know much, but what I would assume is that they're leading up to kind of like an alternate Avengers group that's going to come together still to face a galactic threat like how Thanos was, but instead it's going to be Ego's what I'm
Ego.
assuming.
Yeah.
And that Star-Lord may even be somehow going to be controlled by Ego or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Well, he's gonna whatever he was gonna do was gonna absorb his power or go into
right.
whatever his plan was in Guardians
Right.
2. Yeah.
Either they work together or he's going to take his power. So,
Yeah.
that's my guess is like the way that was kind of like a little post, almost like a post-credit stinger that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be the main villain, Ego.
Yeah. That was cool. I think that was pretty cool. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I can't wait for the next one. So it's like IGN posted the review. It's like after a disappointing start. It's like, who are you disappointing? I wanted Carter to step on me. What are you guys?
I saw a few guys joking about that. Like, we just wanted, was it one of the
What are you
writers? I think
guys?
says like, I just wanted to just kick doors in or whatever the
Yeah,
whole
what are you
time.
guys
So,
talking
just
about?
joking. I
Disappointing?
know.
Jeez. Oh man, getting a little
Don't know, man.
clickbaity there, IGN.
Don't know what's
What's up
going
with
on.
that? Yeah, let's do Bad Batch real quick. Strong episode. We see the finality of Camino again. Spoilers. Um, we see the the actual downfall or the literal downfall of Camino. Um, Very interesting. We did explore more of Crosshair. It wasn't as black and white as it was on the last episode and when we discussed it. So there's more to it, right? Like I think he's more confused than anything because Hunter was 100% right when he told him, it was like, well, they shut you down and left you here for dead. So, do you think they still care about you? And 100% right on that. I think Omega was really good. With again, she's a little bit too much. I mean, I'm that's the whole like Star Wars Force is female thing that they have going on, and I mean, she's just not a Force user, at least not yet. I don't know, who knows, right? Um, but she was good. Like the way they utilized her was good. I think everyone had a really good uh part to play or in that in this episode. And yeah, basically it's them trying to the entire episode is them trying to escape the wreckage and the bombardment from the Empire. um and then it leaves the ending very open, and then it kind of connects to Mando now at the it really connected to Mando at the end. And it was good. It was a really good episode. I know that Crosshair is probably going to become like a bounty hunter or something. Like we'll probably see him again as a bounty hunter or something like that, right? I don't think he'll definitely like join the crew back, but he's going to be a more neutral character from now on. Like he's gonna be the gray, he's gonna be the Boba Fett, right? But he's in it just because he whatever he thinks it's the right thing to do, he'll do it. I think that's what his character will eventually become. Um, but yeah, it was good, man. What do you think?
Yeah, like you said, the literal downfall. When we see the Kaminoans in those literal tubes, and they're just showing them just floating, and they're like, "What are we gonna do? Like, that's it. Sorry, we can't help them. Like, they're literally going to just drown to death because they can't swim. It's not a thing that they do in this. So, yeah, like it's a lot of heavy thoughts there when
Yeah.
we really, I mean, we thought about it from the episode before, the rain fire, fire when ready, right? um so you knew that it was bad anyways, but you just get
Yep.
to see some of the actual destruction. Cool escape kind of episode, cool all around on there. I did like the episode before more, in
I
honesty.
did too. Yeah.
But it's not that this was a bad episode. I don't know. I think the other one just felt very Star Warsy, if that makes sense. This little
Yeah.
training scene, all
This
that.
was our. I mean, not no
And the
pun.
ending,
No.
the cliffhanger on there
The,
with this dude, like, oh, I took out my chip. I was
yeah.
like, oh,
Last episode. I think no pun intended, but this is a more contained episode.
yeah, yes,
It
that's a
is.
great yes. It's a great way
Yeah.
of saying it. When you, like you mentioned at the very end, um, the lady that's just literally listed in the credits as like the medical officer or something like that. She does have the exact same outfit as Dr. Pershing in
Yeah.
The Mandalorian. Obviously, 30 years difference between what's going on here and where The Mandalorian is. That's important for people to
20.
remember.
Was it roughly 26 years? Yeah.
Something like there, yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen within the next two. Is the point? Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
long time apart, but that gives enough time to show that, assuming that yes, this is a direct connection. I believe that's a fair assumption. That whatever was going on from there, that it took a very long time for them to get what they got with Grogu, and that would make sense,
And
right?
Snoke.
Like,
I mean, eventual Snoke and all
and
that. Yeah.
Snoke, yeah.
Took him a
Which
while.
that's a whole nother jump of years from
So
where
that's
Mandalorian
confirmed
is.
to be 30 from Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
mean that's like 60 years we're talking like ahead
yeah, yeah.
from this thing. So the implications, assuming that that's all connected, which I believe it is, that it is a pretty cool little ending there. Do we get more of that stuff going forward? Maybe,
I
maybe,
would think so
maybe they
because I
just
think,
left.
yeah, I think that the connection that that Omega has with Nalase, it's pretty big. Like, oh, I think Omega's gonna say, oh, we gotta find Nalase, and then that they're
I think
probably
so
gonna
too.
go out there and try and find and figure out what's going on, right? So, yeah,
Yeah, I would assume so too. I feel like the way Filoni does his writings is he always has like a lot of ideas and he plugs a lot of the times his ideas, and assuming that the shows continue as long as he wants them to, he gets to end up following up on all those ideas.
yeah.
So I feel like that was planted intentionally for future stuff too, but to what extent I don't know. Love that we're getting more Bad Batch coming up. Love that we're getting some Star Wars anime coming up. So more Star Wars is on the way, my
Oh,
friend.
let's talk about that because I saw the trailer right for Star Wars Visions, and I watched the Japanese trailer first. I watched it twice, and I watched the dub version, and I watched it twice. And then I probably watched it like probably a dozen times, and I like Joe. Remember when I told you back then? It's like, oh, so yeah, Studio Trigger is gonna do stuff with the with Star Wars. It's like, what's everyone talking about now? Oh, you see that girl with the 6 lightsabers fighting in space? It's like, of course they're fighting in space. It's Studio Trigger. They have to have like a fight in space. This is perfect. It's awesome, man. What a freaking good trailer. The music was excellent, and I think this is gonna be a real treat. I think this is gonna be this is gonna be special. I have a suspicion that we're gonna get more of these, uh, like maybe a season 2, and we're probably gonna see. I think because of the quality of this stuff and what we saw and how these stories are gonna go, I think, and again, I mean, I haven't watched any episodes, of course, but I think that this is going to change a lot of the fan mindset
Hmm.
because of it being animated. It's going to get a pass, right? And because it got a pass, some of the stuff that they're probably going to explore in this, they're going to try and translate it to live action eventually. So I am very excited, Joel. This is it. It all everything looks phenomenal. Like all the different art styles, all the different studios. From what I can see, I think Trigger has at least 2 episodes because it's 6 studios, 9 episodes, right?
Yes.
Um, because there's 2 different types of Trigger. There's the Kill la Kill crazy Trigger with the Gurren Lagann Trigger, and then there's the Gridman Trigger, which is a little bit more subdued, still out there, but it's a little bit more subdued. So, clearly the Kill la Kill like crazy Trigger is the 6 lightsaber girl, but there's another one that I think it's the girl that stops the blaster. Where there's a scene where the girl
Yes.
stops the blaster and shoots it back to the officer or whatever. I think that's triggered too. So I mean, I could be confusing that, but I mean, man, talk about some like eye candy, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I love it too, and it's what's so cool about it is it's like that one little teaser featurette thing that they had put beforehand when they were working on this together. You kept getting the understanding that this was going to be some things that we've never seen before. This is completely its own thing. Like this is not they're not going, oh, let's make an anime version of A New Hope. Like that's not what any of this stuff is. This is
No.
its own thing
Yep.
that's still paying respect to what Star Wars brought, but doing like 100 times more crazier stuff than they could ever even dream of being allowed to do, with any of the other stuff. And that's
Yeah.
they can do that because it's a completely different medium. That's the way this thing goes. And I love that because I wouldn't call it an experiment by any means, but I would say that it is a good testing ground
Yeah.
for both storylines, character types, force abilities, new worlds ish. I'm assuming that they're going to be on the
Yeah.
on planets that we know, as they showed in the trailer. Say,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to trailer planets you know, but there may also be some that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So there's I feel like the creative spark, like they allowed them to just go crazy, which they should. And like to your point, I would not be surprised that it's like at some point someone goes, yeah, we're working on Star Wars episode whatever. We were inspired by this Star Wars Visions episode
Yeah.
where character blah 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 was wielding a yellow lightsaber, and don't be surprised at that.
Yeah. Or light
Um,
whips or whatever, right? So
yeah,
yeah, now that light
yeah,
whips are going to be introduced like to the masses, because that was a thing in the extended universe, but never, now not canon, of course. But um, I think that like I said, it's going to open up and it's going to broaden the mind of the general like Star Wars fandom. I'm hoping for the best, right?
I
Um,
know.
so we'll see. Like I know that this guys get real toxic real quick. We've learned to like we're past that. We're beyond we're beyond getting toxic for Star Wars. We've never been to begin with, but
Look, we understand criticisms. Like
we
that's not that
exactly
doesn't mean that we just put it off to the side.
absolutely.
But we're
So
not we're not gonna go burn the building down.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, definitely
Don't throw
looking
the
forward to
baby
it.
out with the bathwater.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, September 22nd. Looking forward to that. Let's move along, and we got a trailer for the Eternals this morning. Um, this is a trailer that I was waiting for because I wasn't sold in the movie to begin with because of the storyline, and I was really a lot more excited about and I am still a lot more excited about Shang-Chi than
Same.
this movie.
Yeah.
Um, but we have to recognize that the movie itself is visually striking. Like all the long shots and the wide shots that they have, man, breathtaking. It looked really good. I mean, the cast is good. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be another like big Marvel story. I don't think that this movie is going to necessarily like set the box office on fire or the Disney Plus thing or whatever they decide to put it on. Uh, just because just the trailer, and I think this is the final trailer, right? They said after this is probably just going to be the
Yeah, they
marketing
just
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that this will be just TV spots are the only things that we'll get probably
yeah.
like
Um,
miniaturized trailers.
it's weird because like it looks good. I don't know how to explain it because the movie looks really good. Again, visually it looks really good. The cast is great. I'm assuming it's well written. We're going to have a lot of like big Marvel like celestial lore and Thanos and all that and where did they come from and all this. But it's just that I am just not excited about it. It's a weird thing to say, right? It's like it's not like the first Venom trailer when I said the trailer was trash
No,
because
no,
the
no, yeah,
trailer
it's not the
wasn't
same.
trash, and again visually it looks really stunning. But again, this is a wait and see for me. I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch this movie in the movie theater. Honestly, I'll catch it when it's on Disney Plus. So
Yeah, I can't blame you. Like it's Marvel. I'm gonna go see it. That's just what I do. But to the same extent, these trailers make me look at this movie positively. Like it doesn't give me a
oh yeah,
negative
yeah, yeah,
effect.
yeah.
Like I don't look at these movies and go
Not
like,
at all. Yeah,
yuck, or like, what are they doing? I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is Marvel doing something new again.
mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, like, have they let me down? Like, seriously? No.
Yeah. Maybe
There's
it's probably because I have zero connection to any of these characters,
that's fair.
and it's like it doesn't like move my needle. Like and again, what's crazy here is that I didn't know about Shang-Chi up until like the movie got announced. But bro, those trailers are fire
Those
compared
are
to
hype.
this thing.
It's hype, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, and the Shang-Chi response already for some people who've already seen the movie is just going crazy. So my expectations for that movie, I already was hyped for it. Now I'm like running like, can I see it tomorrow?
Yeah.
With the Eternals, I do appreciate that we finally got a story for this.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that was what was important with the trailer. At the same time, the story made me feel like it was lacking, if that makes any kind of sense. And I
I,
mean
I,
lacking in the sense that it felt very like, these extremely powerful characters, and they're just basically fighting
it's
some beasts.
safe.
But
It's like a generic enemy unless
it's
they
very
really come.
generic.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It make actually from a story standpoint, it makes sense, right? Like it's good writing. It makes sense because people like they're answering the question in the trailer, like, why didn't these people interfere with anything? With the humans, all the stuff going on, vendors, whatever. It's like, yeah, they snapped with a finger and brought back literally everything that died, every single thing, except for Thanos and his people. They said, you guys can, go kick rocks. So when they say everything, they weren't just talking about the humans. They weren't just talking about your missing puppy. They also were talking about literally monsters.
Yeah.
And the Eternals and the Deviants are two factions that are kind of like the Skrull and the Kree, always going at one another. Except this is a more uh another realm kind of people, right? So created by the Celestials, the Eternals and the Deviants were made, but the Deviants were always try to conquer the Earth. So the Eternals became the protectors of it rather than working in harmony as they were supposed to be. And we see Crow at the end being, obviously he's the leader of the Deviants. So we actually get a look at him, holding up Thena at the end there. Those two are kind of two very, very big leader characters, between the two, the evil deviants and the Eternals. So, setting up that fight I feel like, that showdown could have been maybe marketed with more hype behind, if that makes sense. But at the same
Hmm.
time, you can't be hyped for something you don't know enough about, if that makes sense. Yes,
Yeah,
Shang-Chi, you
yeah.
don't know much about Shang-Chi, but at the same time, I don't feel like his story is I'm not saying it's simple, but I don't feel like it's as complex as the Eternals and the Celestials and the Deviants and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's another kind of realm fantasy stuff that doesn't,
Yeah.
it feels like Marvel, but almost doesn't feel like Marvel. Like, it
Hmm.
almost feels like it could be just a cool movie of its own that just so happens to be a Marvel Studios film.
It's
But I'm sure we'll connect very
this
well
looks like
going
a
forward.
yeah. This looks like a Disney thing more than Marvel.
Yes.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
looks more like a John Carter and
Mm.
was the other one a Cracking Time or whatever. The
Wrinkle in
last
Time, don't say
Wrinkle
oh.
in Time. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Cracking Time is Ratchet and Clank. So yeah, but
That's good.
yeah, yeah. So because it feels more like that than a Marvel movie.
Right.
Again, from the from production standpoint and a visual standpoint, cinematography it looks excellent. But yeah,
Yeah, it's like you're saying. There's enough. It doesn't look bad by any means. But it's one of those movies that I almost feel like right now going into it, I expect be to be entertained, but I don't expect myself to love this movie. Like Shang-Chi, I'm expecting myself to love the movie. So if the movie lets me down, then
yep,
that's dangerous. But I do have high expectations going into it. But this one, if it does knock my socks off, I'm here for it. I hope that happens. Like, I hope to be surprised, but I'll go in with tempered expectations and hoping for a great time.
yep,
I don't expect this to be bad. That's for sure. So
good,
yeah, good trailer.
yeah, yeah, man. All right, so do you want from a good trailer or two good trailers? Oh my god! So, I mean, and there's a separate video that I posted on YouTube, talking about how I feel about Masters of the Universe Revelation, and I enjoyed it, and it was good. I don't know if you finished it.
No,
Okay.
I
Um,
finished Transformers.
I oh you did. Okay, great, great. Oh, let's talk about that real quick. That
Sure.
cliffhanger ending. That cliffhanger ending was really good. So there's more.
It was
There's more
fantastic.
coming.
There's more coming.
Yeah, but you see they did very interesting stuff there at the end with the Mac with everything with everyone. Like everyone was like very cool. Like
Yes, yes.
Starscream going crazy and even
Yeah.
Megatron doubting everything that he was doing for a second there. It was like it was deep. It was very deep. It was good.
I know, and I just loved how it's it's so emotional when you see all of a sudden like Optimus facing against another evil version of himself,
Nemesis,
and
yeah.
all the sparks, become the all spark at the like just so poetic, so
It was,
beautiful.
yeah. It was good.
And great story. It's like I'm watching something like this is in the kids section of Netflix. This is in the kids section, dude. And I'm like,
It's deep. Well, that's
this
deep.
is
That's like
if I'm
six.
a little kid watching, I would love it,
Yeah.
but it's like way heavier than people would
It's
suspect.
very philosophical. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good.
Got like a Predacon dying, and I'm like, I'm literally watching. I'm
Oh
like, this should
yeah,
be goofy. This should just be like, oh, it's just a robot dying, whatever. And I'm like, he's like debating, like, would they have accepted me? Would they have forgiven
yeah,
me? Like
yeah,
on his last like breath. I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
yeah,
geez, this is
yeah.
amazing.
Very very philosophical. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Yeah, like it started a little slow. Like those first
Yes.
couple episodes were kind of slow, but then it really picked up and it was excellent. Um, but bro, this trailer came in today, and it's funny because we bumped into each other in the office, right after I watched this trailer, it's like, bro, there's this He-Man thing that came out. It's like, oh, season 2. It's like, no, bro, it's like a CG thing, and it's like, it's like, ah, bro,
Tell me, dude. Explain
Joe,
this to me, please.
oh, I don't, why? I
Is
mean,
this Fortnite He-Man?
gra- it looks like
That's what I
Fortnite.
got out
It
of it.
looks
The
like
first
Fortnite.
thing. I
So
said, is
that's the
this Fortnite
thing.
He-Man? This
That's
was
the
like a video game like version
yeah.
or something.
So that's the thing. The thing is that this is put out there not by Netflix. Netflix
Okay.
like Revelation was. This is put out by Netflix Family, which is the one the one that they push the kids shows. So this is straight up a kids show. This is not, you know,
Which the original
it's not the
was,
greedy
but
reboot. I
still.
mean, you already got the greedy reboot you wanted, but you just didn't want it. You were not ready for it.
Ooh.
Oh, oh, Skelligon's gonna come back, and you'll see. You'll see. You're gonna you're gonna regret your words and deeds, as Hideo Kojima once said. Uh,
Ooh.
so, but this thing, bro. I mean, it's for kids, right? I'm looking at it from the two perspectives. I'm looking from the three. I'm gonna be fair. So I'm looking for it from the perspective of a parent. It's like, for a kid, this looks like a ton of fun. As an old school, you know, He-Man fan, this looks like trash. As someone that knows that He-Man has always been trash, this looks completely okay, right? So so there's that. I think that for kids, and I think the art style is done on this art style was selected on purpose because it's Fortnite basically, dude. It's Fortnite
Yeah.
graphics. So kids love Fortnite. Make it look like Fortnite, and kids. I'm telling you, this is probably going to be really. This is going to probably do really well with, kids 5 to 8, that age range, 5 to 9. It's probably going to do okay. For kids during between those ages. That said, as a He-Man, old school fan, I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch this. I mean, I'll watch Revelation season 2 for sure because I watched it day one. I almost binged it and it was excellent and I loved it. Um, but no, I mean they even though they have Drew Lowenthal's playing He-Man, and uh they the animation looks okay. It's just that um the whole, like, I don't, and they're a team, right? That's the thing, right? Because there's a lot of kids shows now that's the team show. That it used to be He-Man, and He-Man did the thing, and Superman did the thing, but now a lot of kids shows are more teams. It's like Mickey and the Things, and the Roaster Racers, and uh, the Paw Patrol, which are extremely popular with kids. So we see a lot of that team dynamic that's going on in kids shows, and it makes sense for them to take that team dynamic, put it Fortnite graphics, and make it action packed. But then you have a show. That's all I really have to say about it, man. I mean, it'll be there. I know that kids are gonna like it. Not for me. So I'm not going out of my way to watch it. If I'm bored one day and there's nothing to watch, I may just pop in an episode and watch one. But I'll give it the one episode rule. I'll give it just one episode. But it's just that the art style. I'm not.
Yeah, the art style alone lets you know what kind of thing you're going to be watching. Like, there's no way you have that art style and take the same kind of writing that you get in this new Revelations, right? Like, it would just be super kooky and ridiculous. And
Yep.
like, you have to also realize like Kevin Smith's making this other one, so like he ain't gonna let the fans. Well, somehow the fans have their own opinions, which is not surprising. But he's been infamous for saying like he makes stuff that is literally like die hard style, not goofy in that regard when it comes to those things. So
give me my Gritty Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
that's what I would like.
Well, that'd be crazy,
dude. Have you seen that Last Ronin comic book run they're doing? That they're like, you cannot find a physical copy of it because I've been looking for one and they're like $30 and I refuse to pay $30 for a comic book. It's awesome, bro. It's amazing. Just give me the Last Ronin, man. Everyone's dead except one turtle and you don't know who it is because he's got all the weapons from the other ones. So yeah, they should do something like that. Yeah, give me Gritty Turtles. I would appreciate that. The only Gritty Turtles we got was the first movie. That's the extent of it, which I think severely criminally underrated movie, and it still holds up to this day. So, yeah, that's basically that's it with that. Joel, we got a new Switch model coming out. I accidentally closed my tab here. I'm gonna pull it up real quick, but it is a Pokemon Diamond and Pearl special edition Switch. It's all black with the two main Pokemons for each game in the back. It comes out the same day that the games are out, which is I think later in October. Let's fact check that real quick. Hold
on. Live fact checking with no load time.
Yes, sir. And here we go. Come on. Give me a date. November 19th.
Okay.
So November 19th is coming out. Of course, $199. That's the standard price. I like that it's all black because I like I always try to go all black for my aesthetics for like my phone and my Apple Watch and like my accessories, right? So I think it looks pretty cool. I may, Joe, like my daughter indirectly said it's like, we were playing Zelda over the weekend, right? I'm not gonna tell you that's going. and she said it's like, it would be fun if I would have a Switch Lite and I can play something else here and you can keep playing on the TV. It's like, yeah.
She's smart.
Yeah, I already got the hint for that, so I gotta clear it with the boss lady to see what she thinks. But yeah, it looks good. I mean, it looks like a very nice Switch Lite. If you're 100% mobile and you like Pokemon, yeah, go for this model because it looks real nice.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's like saying it's that black and yellow, like Pokemon, no Pokemon fan. It's a good looking console.
Yeah, it's like a black and gold and silver in the back. It's not it's not too crazy. Yeah, I really like it.
You walk around with that Switch, like,
Yeah, it's a fancy Switch, sir. Looks real good. Joel, the last piece of news that I just wanted to talk about real quick before we go. Hades, which is a very highly anticipated game for PS4 and or PlayStation and Xbox. It's been out on PC and Switch for a few months. Game of the year in some outlets. The game made available in on Game Pass when it came out for Xbox, um, and it came out, of course, physically and on PlayStation Network. There's an interesting article by Forbes saying that 93% of sales of actual sales for Hades have come from PlayStation, with 7% on Xbox. They actually have a separate breakdown. They have 70% have been on PS5, 23% on PS4, and 7% on Xbox. This should worry any developer that is considering putting their game out on Game Pass. Again, I don't know, because this is not disclosed anywhere, what kind of compensation plan Microsoft has for third party or independent developers for them to put their game on Game Pass. I'm assuming it's substantial. And again, Game Pass games are not there forever. They go away. Like, I had a few games downloaded. When I re-upped it, those games were gone and I couldn't launch them, which made me like not renew it. Cause I only kept Game Pass for a month. So that's a thing, right? It's worrying. I mean, it seems like the game is selling really well on PlayStation, but only 7% of those sales came from Xbox, and then whatever other compensation Microsoft gave them for putting the game on Game Pass. Like, I'm not sure exactly on how this would directly affect them monetarily. But it is, in my opinion, right? If I would be running a studio, this would be concerning. Being that the game is not like Rocket League, right? Because part of Rocket League's success was that that game came out on PSN, basically. Like, it debuted on PSN, and that just propelled the game. Or not PSN, I'm sorry, it was a PS Plus game, and that really like propelled the game into like the stratosphere, and everyone was playing Rocket League. So, on PC you had to pay, on Xbox you had to pay, but it was free on PlayStation. So that really like bumped up the I guess the core fans, and it's been, the rest is history basically for Rocket League. We know how that's going. That's going phenomenal. So, but it's not the same for Hades being a single player action RPG, roguelike. It's a little bit of a different story because there's no monetization from it. So, concerning, if you ask me, Joel, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't know about this, so you brought it to my attention, and I found it extremely odd. Just looked at the headline literally before, and now I appreciate your full breakdown, because that makes a little bit more sense-ish, right? It's a very nonsensical situation, but that's the best sense we can make of it. And to your point, it does make me feel very concerned for what's going on right now with Game Pass. I mean, to what you just mentioned alone, right? Like, it is important for people to understand that the library does not, it's not a once download, it's in the library kind of thing. That library does frequently changes dynamic.
Uh-huh.
And you get good value by having Game Pass, by having access to all these different games, but those games are on rotation. It's kind of like Netflix, where things come and go, and you might have a show on there that shows up, and then all of a sudden this is leaving Netflix, and then it's back on, and maybe a
Correct.
while from there. So I'm not really sure that necessarily the Game Pass is in trouble, but it is something that is concerning for them to figure out what's the deal here, because 93% is a big number. Like, that's a very big number. So
It's not like
um,
it's 75, right? It's like, or
no,
66%. So it's not like 2/3 of sales are on PlayStation. We're talking about like
yeah,
almost all of them. Yeah.
yeah, it's basically, you can argue it's the whole thing. So that is scary.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. So we'll see. I'm gonna try and look for more info on see what sort of like compensation Microsoft puts out for these developers that put in their games on Game Pass day one, versus just selling the game outright. So I'm gonna see if I can find more info on that because it's interesting. I really want to know. So.
Yeah.
Joel, that is what we have for today. Again, you guys, thank you for tuning in. Joel, just go ahead and plug us in.
Yeah, thank you all for your continued support. We want to invite you to stay connected with us. We always have great stuff coming about. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast version on podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Music. We're out there. So find us on your podcast platform of choice. Make sure to stay subscribed and share these episodes with others. We also invite you to stay connected with us on social media. As I mentioned during the show, I'll be sharing a bunch of recaps of great pictures and videos from the stories that I shared with you guys on my personal experiences being out at MegaCon on behalf of No Load Time. It was a great time. So make sure you follow us at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, if you're following us on our Twitch right now, you're enjoying our live stream. That's No Load Time all together on our Twitch account. Yeah, thank you all so much for sticking with us. We've got a lot of great stuff coming about. So if you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. You can, of course, write a comment in the comment section of the very video itself, or you can also send us an email. Send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. We'd love to talk with you and potentially even mention whatever your question or comment is even on the show. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again next time.